Paradox Rift is Pokemon's latest set that will be released on November 3rd in stores worldwide, and then on November 17th, it will be legal for competitive TCG play. My name is Rahul Reddy, and today on this channel, we're going to be looking through the Paradox Rift set list and telling you guys what cards I think are good, what could be potentially okay, and just my first initial review of the full set list. I've seen a lot of the cards in this set, for full disclaimer, and I already have some opinions, but I have not actually sat down and looked at the full set list just yet. Was waiting on English scans. Turns out they're not coming anytime soon, so we're going to do this instead. And then when the English scans are out, we'll do a buy list video. You guys can check that out on this channel, so subscribe to be back here, check out that kind of stuff. I do buy lists and set reviews for every single set that comes out, so you guys will know which competitive cards that I'm going to be personally picking up, and my accolades are, I don't know, I think they can speak for themselves. So I kind of know when to pick up some cards and when not to pick up some stuff. So that being said, I don't normally plug this stuff, but if you are going to buy cards from TCG Player, there's a link in the description below to buy with my affiliate code. It doesn't do anything for you. It gives me a 3.5% kickback. All you have to do is fill up your cart with whatever you want, but then close out of the website, reopen that, and go to checkout from there with that link. So that being said, let's jump into it. Let's look at the set review. There's obviously going to be a lot of fluff because this set is like, I don't know, like almost 300 cards, which is kind of ridiculous. But this set has a lot of cool cards introducing the future and ancient mechanics. So our new mechanics to the TCG are being added, or like tags, I guess, like which then the next subsequent like 2 or 3 sets will play off of. So it should be interesting to see kind of how we work off that. So this Surskit and Masquerain are both kind of just like bad. I don't really know what they do that's special that other cards don't. Frostless EX is our first EX that we see. Ability Evanescent. If this Pokemon's in the active and knocked out, flip a coin, your opponent takes 1 fewer prize card. Could be decent depending on the attack. 2 Waters. Frostbolt at 140 does 20 to a bench Pokemon. That's interesting, but you can't Melody to it. You can't. You don't have a way to accelerate 2 Waters in 1 turn. I guess you could play it with Baxcalibur Frostless. That would be interesting, but I don't know why you would do that over like something like Chanpao or the other potential attackers. Pansage and Simisage. Simisage has a trio effect. If you have Simisage, Simisear, and Simipour in game, which is all the evolutions, ignore all energy costs that's attack the Pokemon uses. Could be interesting if the attacks are decent. Grass Close, 100, and prevent all damage to this Pokemon that have an ability except any Simisage. So you can't win Simisage Mirror, unfortunately, but that's actually kind of interesting, but I feel like these guys are a little bit too flimsy and do too little damage for this to actually be relevant. Also, having to get all 3 of them into play is a tall order in itself. Dwebble and Crustle are kind of just Cragbash. That's an interesting attack. 100 less from evolution Pokemon, but unfortunately 130 is too little in this format. Bounsweet and Steenie. So I guess I think there is a Serena that's like water type or something in this set, so we'll get there. But these guys are both pretty lackluster. Blipbug and Dottler. Surprise attack flip 30. Dottler, flip a coin of heads. Nothing crazy there. Satellite Beam, 30 times each energy in your discard pile. In your opponent's discard pile. Never mind. I thought it was our discard pile, and I was like, wait, we can actually maybe do something with like a Turbo or Beetle like deck, maybe, but this is terrible. This is actually quite bad compared to what I initially thought. Nimble, they're so small. Toad's Cool, Grass one of your bench Pokemon. This is not probably the optimal Toad School compared to the other Toad School if you're going to play Toad School. EX that was released in Paldea, I believe. So you could, or maybe Obsidian, I don't know. But you can play this guy now, so you have a more optimal Toad School. So if you are considering it, I would pick these guys up. There's a Toad School. Fungal Colony cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their hand by an effect of your opponent's abilities or trainer cards. That's actually pretty interesting. I feel like obviously the setup is a little bit much to get this guy out, but you can stop at the moment only Chanpao. But in the future, maybe you can stop other decks and other cards. But at the moment, we can stop Chanpao really well. Wo-Chien, we're going to like table this card because I feel like it's worth coming back to later in the future if there's more put cards from your discard into your hand effects that get released down the line. Because this card will definitely see some sort of play in a control variant, potentially. Wo-Chien, 2 grass to 1 of your Pokemon. Okay. It's okay. Average bind. Okay, man. 4 energy cost, 3 grass. That's crazy. This Wo-Chien is just absolutely... I don't know why my headphones are on. This is much easier to talk like this. Wo-Chien is just a absolutely terrible card. Yeah, this is bad. Magby. Just a Magby. That's crazy. Oh, we've got the monkey trio here. Simisear, again, 4 energy. Wow, that is a crazy amount of energy cost. 190. So Simisear could be the damage dealer in this deck. And you guys you have the typing of fire, light, fire, grass, water. But I don't know if all 3 of those types are actually like that relevant right now. All of them have Call for Family, which is interesting as well. Volcanion, double turbo. Dual turbo, sorry, 20 and attached to fire. So this is like a set up your fire deck kind of thing. So potentially down the line, if there's more fire cards that are relevant, this card could be pretty good. From Svel's starter deck. Oh, SV, I see. Fight Coco, I like that art. Croc Loire. It is more optimal than the other one. I don't know. Actually, this is no, it's 80 HP, but it's 2 retreat. That's a huge trade-off. Charcadet in the village. Charcadet with 88, another 80 HP, 2 retreat. So I guess they're giving us a little bit bulkier basics with bigger retreat. So if you want to play like a 2-1 split, it kind of becomes weirdly optimal in some situations against like Lost Box or something of that nature. Armor Rouge EX, Crimson Armor. If this Pokemon is full HP, take 80 less for opponent's attacks. Scorching Bazooka, 40 plus 40 for each fire. So I guess you could play some sort of Charizard EX, Magma Basin. You have the other Armor Rouge that lets you move energy around. Rhyhorns, stuff like that to just do a ton of damage. But I feel like you can't. Like, I feel like you have to use Crimson Armor to the full effect by using, like, Cheryl's or some sort of other healing card, because if you don't, the Armor Rouge is actually pretty squishy to take out. Iron Moth, Thermal Reactor, move from bench to active, move as many fire you want to it. 120, this Pokemon can't use Heat Ray. That's really weak, even for a 1-prizer. Like, 120 doesn't even do anything in the scope of the format. Like, 120 doesn't even set up 2 shots, unfortunately, with 1-prizer if you're playing that route. Chi-Yu, 2 fires to accelerate, same as the Wo-Chien's first attack. Envious Inferno does 90 more, so 50 plus. That's pretty bad, actually. I mean, I guess no. I guess you could actually play this as a revenge attacker in a fire deck that plays like Magma Basin or maybe this Armor Rouge deck, or like if you're looking for like a revenge attacker in fire type decks, this could actually be pretty decent because 140 is actually a pretty good threshold point where you can get to like 140. It's a 2-shot on most things in the format, and then with a damage modifier, you can make it like a VMAX or something as well later in the format as well. Horsey, Seadra. King to reveal the top 6, does 60 for each damage card, then discard those energies and shuffle the cards. So you have to discard. If it was just shuffle the energies back in, I was like, well, like there's potential there. But the fact that you have to discard them is like, well, that sucks, unfortunately. Remoraid and Octillery Suction Draw. When you play this card from your hand, you may draw 3 cards. There's no scoop up net. There's no way to recycle this Octillery. Unfortunately, if there was, I think this card would be really, really strong to just get a free draw 3 on an evolve. But unfortunately, there's no way to recycle this card. So it is not good, unfortunately. And you might be thinking this Remoraid seems pretty optimal for Urshifu or something like that. No, it's not a Rapid Strike Pokemon, so it's just bad. You can't get it you can't retreat with the Rapid Stadium. Phoebus, drop power, still 30 feet. Lifeboat, when you play this card from Evolve, each player puts a basic from the discard pile onto their bench. Your opponent chooses first, so it's kind of an Echoing Horn, but I think we had to just have Echoing Horn. Like, you just have Echoing Horn, so I don't know why you would play this card. Snorunt, yeah, it's basic, right? Yeah, it's basic, okay. Snorunt. You just hang it out. Garchomp EX. I think this card is really good, actually. Hydrolander, 160, attach 3 basic fighting from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon any way you like. Sonic Dive, 2 energy, 120. I think this card is really good and has a lot of potential because not only is it a 320 HP behemoth, yes, it has Lightning Weak, that's not the greatest part, but it has no retreat, meaning that it can combo with cards like Featherball. It is water type, so you can get it with cards like Irida, like Candy Irida, get you where you need to be. And you can use cards like Greninja in your deck to just put the fighting into the discard, accelerate a bunch of energies onto your board, play healing cards like Cheryl, retreat between the guys kind of freely, and basically just heal your board consistently because you have the ability to use Cheryl. Maybe play something like a Pidgeot to find those pieces. Irida, Featherball, Pidgeot, like you have all this search that's available to you. Don't really know what stadiums could maybe benefit this. Maybe just play Artisans, just kind of set up your board. And there's potentially probably other fighting type cards that exist that like a single prizer or a something that could potentially couple with this down the line. I feel like there is potential to do that. I just don't know. Or more fighting cards could be released down the line that could make this really good. But I think Garchomp EX is like one of those cards that I really, really, really like the idea behind, and I think I like my stocks are invested in this card. Yeah. Like buy low, sell high kind of thing. Mantike, nothing. They're just putting babies back. I think it's been like some odd, like crazy number of years since we've had baby Pokemon. So they're just reprinting baby Pokemon for the sake of reprinting them. Palkia, Could be a decent one prizer in water type decks. 80 plus 80 does 160, so you could probably throw this into Chien-Pao. But you're always ahead usually in Chien-Pao, so you don't need this card. The Panpour Simipour Water Monkey. 50 Shower with Insults. This attack does 30 to each of your opponent's bench. So the first one is a defensive one. The second one is just a ton of damage. And this one is like a spread one. I don't really see the synergy here. Like, this is a cool idea, but this is just bad. These guys are just bad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to all the believers out there. Vanillite, Vanillish, and Vanillux. 40 HP less. They can't attack. But I don't know how you're going to do that. 2 Pokemon. Maybe you can do some sort of spread strategy with Vanillux and like kind of be spreading and then set up a Vanillux in the back. So maybe you can play like Iron Valiant Vanillux kind of thing. I don't know, but Vanillux, interesting. Probably not that good, but interesting. Serena EX, yeah, there was a water type one. I was correct. Grass, Icicle Soleil. Reduce something's HP till it has 30 left. That's actually pretty sick attack. Trop Kick 180, heal 30, and recover small special conditions. I think Icicle Soleil is an interesting attack. Especially because you can couple it with some sort of poison or burn or some sort of other conditions that could exist. But Trop Kick is actually very underwhelming, I think. 310 HP, water type, weak to metal, so that's a benefit as well. So Wimpod, Secret Snack, discard, flip a coin, discard a card. That's kind of cheeky. Power Cross, nothing to write home about here with this guy. There is a Glow Spot EX, so there's another EX in our installment here. Double Colorless for 70 Aqua Blade. Underwhelming. Swing and Skedaddle. 170 and discard an energy from this Pokemon if you do switch. Swing and Skedaddle, you know. Attack and Retreat. I can't think of any more puns. I'm bad at this. But this card is okay. I think it's pretty bad, unfortunately. 3 Retreat is a lot. 3 energy cost is a lot. It's hard to like use effectively. Wiglet, Disorderly Headbutt. Nothing crazy here. Another Wiglet as well. Wugtrio's back, ad hoc choice. When you play this card from your hand to evolve on your Pokemon, use your deck with 3 tools, put them in your hand. If there was actually better tools or like a deck that could utilize tools, then maybe this would be cool, but I feel like there just isn't. So ad hoc choice is just not a great thing. Veluza. Ability Cut Up. If this Pokemon's in the active spot, knocked out by damage from your opponent's active, move 2 water from your bench. But this is like... okay, so this kind of like replaces Wishy-Washy, I think, because you have Hydro Pump, but also 120 just means Sableye pops it anyway. So this is like one of those things where it's like you don't actually get a better attacker into Lost Box, but Veluza could be something very interesting to play in like something like Chien-Pao or a Baxcalibur deck, because you have 60 plus 20 for each water, and you get to retain 2 waters as well. So it's not like it's a sunk cost completely, and with just 3 waters, you're swinging for 120, which is a pretty sizable amount of damage. Go to 4, 150, 140. Any substantial number, probably you need a lot more, but if you come at like 4 or 5 energies, do 160, this guy gets knocked out, you move the energies. That's something that's like very reasonable to potentially do. Dodonzo, Big Gulp. That's it. We're gonna just not make a joke here and just acknowledge that. No one acknowledge it. Iron Bundle, Hyper Blower once on your turn, put 1 on your bench, you may switch out your active to your bench, or your opponent's active to their bench if you do discard this Pokemon. It's just like a weird rope, but you have to discard Iron Bundle, and it has to be on your bench. So like you don't want to open this guy, so it's just a bad starter, and the attack is just not good either. So I don't know why I'd play this card. Chien-Pao also has the same effect as his brothers. Snowbringer, so it's just water types, and then Wrathful Blade for 130. So another basic one price water type Pokemon that could slot into Chien-Pao pretty easily. Any Baxcalibur deck really. Like Baxcalibur is just getting more and more like spread out tools to potentially play in the deck, which I think is interesting. Mewtwo EX, Transcharge. 2 Psychic to your discard any Pokemon you like. Photon Kinesis, 10 plus 30 for each Psychic attached to all your Pokemon. It's interesting because Mewtwo is a Lightning type, so you could play this card in like Gardevoir or something to try to like... Well, I guess you can't accelerate to this with Gardevoir. So you'd have to attach and maybe Shining Arcana and try to hit here. No, that's just a bad idea. I actually scrapped that idea. This card's terrible. 2 retreat cost also just terrible. Scrap this idea. I changed my mind. This card's bad. I like it. So another baby Pokemon back. Puzzle, damage plus, 10 plus 10 for each damage on your opponent's active. And then Minun. If they have a plus 1 play, when they put an energy on the Pokemon, 2 damage counters. So nothing great. Like both these guys are like obviously combo together usually all the time, and they're very underwhelming across the board. And Blitzle, Zebstrika. Burst of Braying, choose Basic Lightning from your discard piles. For the number of prizes attached to the Pokemon. It's a cool idea, but it doesn't translate. This Joltik is eating berries. Flail around. Both these guys are terrible. Zekrom. 20 and discard all tools. We got tool removal if we ever run into that. Just what I was looking for. Oricoria, pep up, shuffle in, and then draw a card for each bench. It's just bad that it's an attack. Like, this is not an attack I want to be using on like turn 3 or 4, because that means I've probably lost the game. Tapu Koko EX, Lightning Colorless, Revenge Shock 30 plus 90 if you had an opponent get knocked out and they're paralyzed. Could be a really cool card in Miraidon. I think this is a 2 energy attacker that does 120, and having the paralyzed effect is pretty strong because you can just pivot this into something else. It does not have free retreat, notably. I think most Tapu Kokos in the past have had free retreat. This one does not, which is actually very important, I think. And then Lightning Colorless is 180 discard energy. So with the Zapdos in play, you go to 130, 190, so that actually effectively one-shots everything in the game. But the problem is that it doesn't have 1 retreat, so it's like, what do you replace in your already pretty tight deck to make space for this? Toxel, you're just hanging out. Iron Hands EX, this is probably the most talked about card in the set, with its first attack Arm Press for 2 Lightnings and a Colorless. I think that's what everyone's talking about. No, I'm joking. Lightning triple Colorless, amp you very much, 120. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by any damage from this attack, take 1 more prize card. It's kind of reminiscent of old school Lugia in its ability. Lugia EX. amp you very much does take 4 energy, so it's a hefty energy cost to fulfill. Cards that people are talking about playing this with is obviously throwing into something like Lugia, where you can just play a couple basic Lightnings, try to find those basic Lightnings with Earthen Vessel, or just some other, just have it like that, just have it like that. And you have Lugia and Arc Apps to accelerate to Iron Hands. You have Miraidon with electricity generators and Flaffies to get to this Iron Hands. And then you have a Chanpao, which seems to be the most popular option to accelerate to this Iron Hands and just attach from hand because you have Earthen Vessel already coupled to find your energy cards. I think Iron Hands is like okay as a card. I don't think it's like super broken. I think it'll be interesting. It will have an impact on the format, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's like turbo broken nightmare fuel for everyone yet. So we'll see. I will be picking these up for sure though. So we'll see. Natu and Xatu ability Akashic Sense. Once your turn, we have a basic Psychic from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon. If you do, draw 2 cards. So it's a free draw. I like that a lot. And then Super Psychic Bolt. So you can play Xatu plus Mewtwo. Like Xatu Mewtwo as a deck. It's just in the starter deck for Mewtwo. That's a cool combination. This is like a way you could actually play the Mewtwo and not like get scammed, I feel like, and then play something like, I don't know what else you could couple with this, but like this seems like a really cool like deck concept. Latios, Deoxys, just shiny cardboard. Yamask, Cofagrigus, EX, ability Gold Coffin. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from your opponent's attack, search your deck for a card, put it in your hand. Cool ability. Psychic Hollow Hands, 110, put 5 on your opponent's bench. Okay attack. I think the effective 160 damage is pretty interesting, but you're weak to dark, you have 260 HP. I feel like you probably wanted 280 on this guy to make him actually like viable. I think 260 is a little bit too small. It makes it easier to want 2-shot like across the board. And with Iono and the format and stuff like that, I don't know, like your 1 card has to be so impactful, and I don't know how a deck like this could wrap around that. Pumpkaboo. Gorgeist. If this Pokemon is knocked out, discard 2 random cards. That's cheeky. But also, I don't really want to have this guy. I don't want to evolve this guy and put him in the active. Maybe in like a Zorobox control, we can play Gorgeist. That'd be kind of hype. Flittle, Espathra. Once you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve, you may prevent all damage and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. Except for Glitter Eyes, it's just a terrible, terrible attack. 2 Psychics for 140. Another Tinkatank. There's like now like 6 Tinkatanks in format, I feel like. Mountain Rummage, top card. Okay. Another Tinkatank, 2 retreat here. 70 HP. It feels like 70 HP is their like threshold for like giving us a second retreat cost. Right now in this, that's like kind of what I feel like. Tinkatuff goes up 10 HP. Alloy Swing. And then we have Crushing Blow, discarded card, Alloy Hammer, Psychic, 60 if you have Metal, 120 on top of that. Okay. All the Tinkatons are like okay. So maybe like a Tinkaton deck could just come out of nowhere and just be really good. Screamtail, Psychic, Slap. That's it. I'm kidding. Roaring Scream, Psychic Colorless, 20 times each damage counter on this Pokemon. So you're at 90, you cap at 8, 160 if you're playing Gardevoir. If you play Charm, you go to 140. There's 13 damage counters on it with Festival in play. 13, 260 snipe. That is so much work when you can just play Drifloon instead. So I don't like Screamtail. I think Screamtail is super mid. I think Cresselia is just an overall better card for what we want to do there. Give me Ghoul. I love this guy. This is like one of my new favorite Pokemon. I love this guy. Look at him. He's just throwing coins at you. He's like Mario Party IRL. I love this dude. Wait, give me the Goldengo. Where did he go? Okay, it's fine. Iron Valiant EX. Tachyon Bits. Once during your turn, this Pokemon moves from the bench to the active. Put 2 damage counters on your opponent's any of your Pokemon, one of them. So you can play like, I think this card's for sure really, really good. You can just move the Valiant around a bunch and then just do a ton of damage somewhere and like, or set up numbers something with either Medicham or Urshifu or some other thing. Like you can just soften up stuff. The problem is that Laser Blade is like an okay attack, and Valiant at 220 HP is like pretty flimsy. So in the future, I don't know how this will be good when we lose cards that are important for switching, and we lose cards like Medicham, Onix, Gligar, Gliscor. These are all pretty bad. Groudon is also another piece of shiny cardboard that you probably don't want to see in your pack. Gibble, Gabite, these guys are both one retreat, actually pretty interesting. So everything in the Garchomp deck is low retreat cost and can do damage for 1 energy. So everything in the deck attacks for 1 energy, which is actually very relevant, I think, because if you want to just like, while you're setting up, if you just want to poke for 20 or poke for 50, you can here, which is relevant, I think. Mienfio, Mienshao are both terrible here. If you attach a Pokemon tool to this Pokemon during this turn, just 70 more damage. 120, and you can only use Whip Expert once. I don't know. There's no tool that used to, like the old ones that kept Mienshao alive, like Focus Sash. Hoopa EX, another basic Hoopa. They love Hoopa for some reason. That's a very strange thing to me, that there's so many Hoopa cards. 2 Darkness, Energy Crush 50 for each energy attack to all of your opponent's Pokemon. That's actually an interesting effect. Scoundrel Fist, 200. So, but the problem is you can't accelerate the Darks to this guy in any way possible because you don't have Dark Patch or anything like that. And the fighting typing is also weird because you don't want to be Psychic weak in this format. So I don't know. This card's super mid. Minior, Flying Meteor during your turn. Attach an energy from this Pokemon, switch to your active, Gravity Tackle. So it's just a Retreat Buster. Nothing to write home about, honestly. Retreat busting cards have never really been too good. Like, Pokemon is like always made so like retreat reliant cards are just not good. Toxtricity EX, I just did not know this was a card, actually. This is my first time seeing this. Double Lightning, Knockhammer, 70, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Cool. 3 Lightning, 270, discard 3 Lightning from your Pokemon play. Terrible. Such a bad cost on everything. Like, just not gonna play this card. Toxtricity, bro, I'm sorry. Knackly, Knackle Stack, and then Garganackle. Or Garganackle? Garganackle? I don't know how to say it. Energy Rock Salt. Once on your turn, you may attach a basic fighting from a discard to one of your Pokemon. If you do heal 30, the attach is really cool. The heal is really cool. Unfortunately, stage 2 is just bad. Land Crush 140. Cloth, Hysterical Scissors 30 plus 160 if you're affected by a special condition. That's a ton of damage. So maybe there's potential here for something. Like with the DTE, you're doing 170. Cloth could be really good, I think. And then Boiled Press. Oh my god, he's dying. He's a crab. It's burned, so that's pretty funny. I feel like if you can proc the special condition with something else, maybe that's a lot of damage. Maybe it's enough to like actually work. Flamigo, not good. Slitherwing, okay, another one of the ancient cards. Stomp Off, discard the top card. Fighting 120 and 90 to itself. And your opponent's act is burned. So you're doing effective 150 now, I guess, because burn is 1, yeah. If this card did 110 to itself, it'd be really, really good because you could use Emergency Jelly. But the fact that you can only do 90 yourself puts you in a really awkward spot where, like, a Bravery Charm puts you at 190, and so you have 100 HP left, which is, like, very easy for a lot of decks to hit. I don't know. It's just a weird number. I don't like that number. But it could be... No, it's just bad. I'm sorry. Sandy Shock CX, ability Magnetic Absorption. Once on your turn, for opponents for 4 or fewer prizes remaining, you may use this ability to attach a basic fighting from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Seems interesting. I feel like Sandy Shocks could have some potential. It does a lot of damage. 220 HP is not that much, though. 200 is an okay amount of damage. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I think Sandy Shocks could see some playability. Tinglu, same thing as before. Sandbringer, attached to fighting. So fighting, water, grass, fire. Prideful Impact 220. If there's 4 more damage on it, does nothing. That's not good. So you can't really play this with the Garchomp deck because, I mean, you could play it, I guess, but like accelerating 3 fightings and then having like a Sableye put 4 damage counters on is like, oh, that's so cool. And then the game is over. Zubat and Copat are fun Pokemon. Mad Echo 50. Choose items or supporter cards. They can't play one of those from their hand. You almost always will choose items. Maybe supporters if it's like a bossable turn, but also Crobat as a stage 2. If it was like on a basic and did like 20 damage, that would be really cool for control. But yeah. Draw Awareness. Discard until you have 4 or fewer, then draw until you have 5 in hand. That's a cool setup card. I just don't know if it's in this fast format. Purloin Leopard. Roll damage from one of your bench Pokemon when it puts active. Dishonest Swap. Kick. The cat strikes again. Garbodor, Chuck, discarded many tools. Hey, there's a guy who does the tools. So it's like Garbodor Wug Trio. That's the deck we're thinking about, baby. just something. Crosscut, 30 plus 60. Dark Edge, 120. Discard. Just not good enough. Thievel Line, Bag Snatch. When you play this hand, you look at your opponent's hand, choose 2 energies and have them shuffle them into your deck. It's not even discard. I don't know. It just feels super weak. Morpeko. I saw this card in the review I did for Roaring Moon. Hunger Dash. This Pokemon has no energy. Attaches to no retreat. So it's a free retreater. 2 darks. Energy wheel 70. Move 20 to one of your bench Pokemon. So you never use it for the attack, but it's just a better free retreater than a 2 prize to put into play. I think is the logic behind this. So that's actually pretty reasonable. 70 HP does make it a free target for something like Sableye, but you just don't want to put that in the matchup. Low Kicks. That guy's nightmare fuel, man. I hate that guy. We're just gonna avoid it. Brute Bonnet. Once in your turn, if this Pokemon has Ancient Booster, you may make both actives poisoned. I like the idea behind Brute Bonnet, and I think that Rampaging Hammer is a pretty strong attack. I think Brute Bonnet could be a very good card. Roaring Moon is probably one of the talks of the town in this set. I think this is one of my favorite cards in the set, if not the favorite card. For 2 darks and colors, Frenzied Gouging knocks out our opponent's active, and you take 200 damage back to yourself. And then Calamity Storm does 2 darks and colors, 100 plus 120 if you discard a Stadium. Both of these attacks are incredibly powerful. Calamity Storm being able to do effectively knock out any V Pokemon or baby EX Pokemon is very, very powerful. And then Frenzied Gouging takes care of the bigger Pokemon, which I think is it just feels really nutty. Like this card feels really, really good and really, really powerful. Steelix. Jirachi, Stellar Veil. Prevent all damage counters from being placed on your bench Pokemon by effects of attacks used by your opponent's basic Pokemon. Jirachi is a card that people are planning to deal with Sableye moving forward, and I think it's a little bit of a copium card, but we will see if this kills Lost Box. I'm not particularly sure if that will be the case. This plus Iron Hands apparently are going to kill Lost Box, so we'll see it. Ferrothorn takes less damage, and you do more damage with Pinning Needles, but you have to survive a turn, so that's not happening. Durant, Swarming Rage, 20 for each damage count on all your Durant, but also these Durants have 70 HP, so they're not going to survive. Hard Scissors, 80, takes 20 less. Bad. Hone Edge, Doublade. Aegis Slash. Sacred Shield, prevent all damage on this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX and V. Could be reasonable because it is like a wall card. Wall cards have traditionally been pretty good. MC Hard Bash. Yo, what's up? It's MC Hard Bash in the building. 120. That's Aegis Slash's rapper name, actually. Its attack effect isn't... That was just so bad. That was just a bad joke. Aegis Slash EX, Peerless Edge, 70 for each prize card you've taken. That's actually pretty decent because later in the game you can take... you can 350, which is pretty insane amount of damage to close out the game. So Aegis Slash had some potential. I feel like it's got to have a lot to go to it still, but I think it's okay. You can set up your board with Zacian. Skeletor GX. I actually like this card quite a bit. Incendiary Song. Once during your turn, you may discard a basic fire from your hand to use this ability during this turn. Attack used by this Pokemon. Your Pokemon do 60 more damage. So you can have other fire type attackers like Radiant Charizard, Charizard EX, whatever, just do more damage. Cards that can use fire type energies effectively in one deck because you have to play this stage 2 Behemoth of Skeletor if you want to make it work. I guess Luster Burn is a pretty good attack as well. I just don't feel like you're going to be attacking with this guy nearly as much. But I do like Incendiary Song, and I feel like it's going to be pretty relevant to beefing up some of these like bad cards we've scrolled by, potentially. Orthworm. 11th Hour Rush, baby. 3 or less. Let's get it. Goldango, I think this card is really insane. Coin bonus is very strong. Once you're in your turn, you may draw a card. If the card's in your active, you may draw one more. So you can play Goldango and Barrel, fill your hand to 5, and then draw. Let's say you have 3 Goldango in play, 2, 1, 1, so 4 more cards. And then if you have any way to search energies out of your deck like Eldegoss or Earthen Vessel, you can start filling your hand and then do a ton of damage with Make It Rain. I just feel like this is an insane combination of ability plus attack. Like if it had, I just feel like if it just had the ability, it still would be a very good card, and it has both. So I think Goldango is definitely a card that I am very interested in trying out and giving a fair chance. Altaria, this card was okay, but I feel like the water metal requirement in the stage 1 makes it so it just feels kind of bad, and Light Pulse is like effects of attacks, but that's not damage, so your Altaria just goes down pretty easily. This Tatsugiri is a pretty good card, I think, with survival strategy. Search your deck for 2 cards, put them in your hand, which is pretty insane, actually. Like, you just get to search for 2 for free, forcing your opponent to have an Iona or a Judge in the following turn immediately, and if they don't, well, you just get to have your full setup. So I think this Tatsugiri is like a very slept-on card, and I think this is a pretty insane card that I like. Porygon, Porygon 2, Porygon Z, Buggy the Clown Turbo, flip a coin if heads, attach 4 basic energies. For discard pile to this Pokemon. Nope, I'm out. It's a this Pokemon. This Apom is I like this art. Filch, draw a card, collect, draw 2, hand fling 20 for each card in your hand. Those strategies just never work. I just am sorry, Impapon. You have a big hand tail guy. Lively Tackle, Whismer, push down, Loudred. This Exploit is, shuffle back in, cool. But if you didn't evolve from Loudred this turn, it does nothing. That's terrible, so you can't keep chaining it. Spinda, you gotta be confused, and you can flip a coin to prevent damage. So like you could just keep coin flipping with teetering steps, and just try to, it's a goofy funny deck, I guess, more than anything. Swablu. Tentamouse. I think this Mousehold is actually pretty good with the ability Solidarity. If it's in your active and damaged, put 3 damage cards on the opponent's active for each Tentamouse, Mousehold, and Mousehold EX in play. So you can kind of cap that with Zoroarks. I think someone mentioned in my other video that Zoroarks exists. So you can actually do 180 damage just by doing nothing, and Nom Nom and Sizers can do a ton of damage and keep filling your hand. So obviously you can't chain this perfectly, but Mousehold having Free Retreat is pretty insane. Getting your entire setup from Level Balls and Feather Balls seems pretty insane also to me. I don't know how we're going to work with the Zoroark, so that's a different question for a different day. So we'll figure that out together. Bombardier, fast carry. You can search your deck for 3 basics, put them under your hand. Bench. I like confused 2 things all at once. I was like, wait, what? I thought it said energy. Just bad. It's just bad card. Cyclozar. 2 energy cost. Iron Jugulus, a homing headbutt does 50 more for to 3 Pokemon. No, it's just too much. Baryon Charge, Baryon Beam, attached for 3 colors. Oh, 3 colors instead of 5. How generous. For 150. That's crazy. Ancient Booster Capsule. This card is very good. The ancient Pokemon gets 60 HP. It recovers from all special conditions and can't be affected by special conditions. So this booster is really, really good on Roaring Moon, Brute Bonnet, cards like those. And obviously more ancient cards will come down the line. So this is going to be one of those cards that stays very relevant in the game. Countercatcher is a very strong card as well, because now we have a Gust effect if you are behind. So now you can do a Gust plus Hand Disruption in the same turn and really put your opponents behind in a position they can't play the game from. So Countercatcher coming back is a great thing for the game. Curse Duster, discard random card, for sure a control card, like 100% a control card, but also maybe just making your control cards beefier is better than discarding cards out of their hand, so we'll see. Defiance Vest, you take 40 less, also a control card for sure. Earthen Vessel is probably the best card in this set. I think that is not an exaggeration. I think this is a Professor's Letter with a cost, where you can discard a card and just put 2 cards into your hand, 2 energies into your hand, but a lot of the time there's so many decks that can afford to discard cards, and putting 2 basic energies into your hand has been very, very hard to do. And playing an energy search has not felt worth it for a lot of decks. So this is something that I think is really, really, really good. And I think this card's insane. Future Booster is no retreat and plus 20 to your opponent's active. But there's not that many good future Pokemon right now that do damage. So like Iron Valiant is cool to have the free retreat to get the 2 damage counters into play. Like keep chaining, like Rope, Booster Capsule, Rope, Switch Cart, whatever. But like when does it stop being relevant, you know? Larry. 2 Pokemon, put them in your hand. Nope. Not very good. Luxury Escape, no rule box, plus 100. Your opponent takes one more prize card. Okay, not doing that. Mela, attach basic fire for me, discard part of one of your Pokemon. If you do, draw 2 of 6 cards in hand. That card's good. That card's for sure going to be good. Mela is going to be good with Charizard EX. Skeledirge idea we've been talking about. I don't know. This card seems really strong. Yes, the caveat is only for Pokemon was knocked out last turn, but I think this card is going to be pretty strong. I think so. Norman, draw 2 plus draw 2 effect. Parasol Lady, shuffle your deck, draw 4. If it's your second, go first. Draw until you have 8 instead. It's just so niche. It's just so bad. Professor Sada's Vitality, choose up to 2 of your ancient Pokemon, attach a basic energy. To each of them, if you attach to any energy, draw 3. This card is really good. Like, excel 2 to 2 different Pokemon, to be fair. And then draw 3? Like, what? That's crazy. Forest Churros scenario, put 1 Pokemon in your hand, discard all cards. This card also is pretty good. I think just like an AZ. It might say put one of your future Pokemon into your hand. I don't think it's all Pokemon. I think it's like they're limited to future. This translation might be slightly wrong. So Rika, top 4, 2 into your hand. It's okay, but we don't need any more Scry effects in Pokemon because we can see our entire deck effectively by turn 2. Rourke, draw 2, put a basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. Not good. Chantal. Just such a bad effect if you get Tails, so it's just not even worth it. Snorlax Doll is a cool card because if it's in your opening hand, you can start it. It's just a big beefy guy, especially if you're playing Control or something like that, so I think it's an interesting thing to do there. Technical Machine Blindside, 3. The TMs are interesting because they fall off at the end of your turn, so you can only use them on that specific turn, so you need to find it. It can't just like sit there the whole game until you can use this effect. So that's one, I think, huge downside to TMs being even relevant here. Blindside 100 to 1 Pokemon that's damage counter is not good. Devolution is the one people are talking about because you can just devolve cards for a Colorless, and then that could just take some stuff out that you've already hit into one time, like Zard or something else. TM Evolution is also pretty good because you can just evolve 2 bench Pokemon and just speed run the game to start the game. Like if you go for second, you can just like have your evolutions first compared to your opponents. TM Turbo Energize, search 2 basics. I think this one's way worse, obviously, but I do think that Evolution and De-Evolution are pretty strong. Techno Radar. Discard a card, search for 2 future Pokemon, put them in your hand. A cool search card for future Pokemon. Very important to note as we get more future cards. Tulip is also very interesting because you get 4 Psychics and Psychic Pokemon from your discard to your hand. So really cool if you can find a synergy strategy that synergizes with this. It's just an insane, it's like Nessa, it's just an insane recovery card for Psychic types. Medical Energy, attach to heal 30. Nothing crazy to write home about. 30 doesn't do anything right now in this format. But that is the entirety of Paradox Rift. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be doing a buy list coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, peace out, guys.